Hi everyone, and first of all, I hope you and your families are all safe and all of you have taken your vaccinations. So, if not, I would definitely urge you to do so without any further delay, because at the moment I think vaccination is the best option we have. So please do so. Please do so. It's my humble request. And yeah, that's it. I think thanks a lot for having me in this lecture series. Well, the topic that I want to discuss is what I call cloud hopping. In the last 6 years, I'm sure you'll agree with me, we have been mostly talking about migrations of workloads from an on premises data center sort of environment to the cloud. So, on prem to the cloud has been the most important aspect of cloud migrations, followed by transformation and modernizations. However, I think in the last 1 or 2 years, we are also seeing discussions about cloud to cloud migrations from a one commercial cloud provider to another commercial cloud provider. So what this is what I call as cloud hopping or a cloud to cloud migration. And so, at least personally, I think I've come across three major discussions with global giants about a cloud to cloud migration strategy and planning. Kindly note that the views I'm sharing are purely personal and they do not represent the views of any of my past or current employers or that of my respected and esteemed customers and partners. Alright, so let's move on to discuss more about what my thoughts are about cloud hopping, which is essentially a cloud to cloud migration needs. And basically today I want to discuss about the reasons of why enterprises need to think about cloud hopping. So let's move on. Well, over the last I can say 6 to 8 years, most of our discussions were around on premises to cloud migration, and out of that, almost 60% was in the IaaS migrations, and the rest probably was in application transformation and modernization. So, we extensively talked about data center contracts expiring or elastic capacity requirements, software, hardware refresh, and the needs for get current and stay current, and of course, compliance, and all other reasons for migration and modernization. But as I said earlier, over the last 2 years, we are seeing an increase in the discussions on cloud to cloud migration. So I am trying to list some of the main reasons for this. And after talking to various customers and even some friends who own startups and other businesses ventures who are heavily dependent on commercial cloud providers. So, well, some of the typical reasons, like I'm trying to avoid the most how should I say reasons what you can just look up on the internet and think of and get those reasons like vendor lock-in or adopting the best offerings from Azure, AWS, and GCP and others. So these are of course valid reasons, but there are much more than that. The actual need. So what I'm trying to discuss today is after talking to several of my friends who are into startups and they have a lot of investments going around with the commercial cloud providers. So that's where that's how it is, and let's see what those reasons are. Well, the first thing that I want to discuss today is mergers and acquisitions that are going on rampantly in the last 4 or 5 years in the cloud space, or even not just cloud space, like I can say in the whole industry. So how that is related. So mergers and even the platform level commercial partnerships between the new organizations or or even large enterprise acquisitions are are the primary drivers in the C2C, the cloud to cloud migration needs currently. So Let me give you a few examples. We have seen several such instances, like Google, a software giant which is also a hyperscale cloud provider. It acquired Fitbit, which is a wearable device major. The company that was acquired used a multi-cloud model. Fitbit was using a complete multi-cloud hybrid space, and this need and the need was to move from one cloud which Fitbit was wearing to what is approved of from Google, which is mostly GCP. So this is just a very high-level example of a huge merger, cross-industry merger. And another example that comes to my mind is a SaaS giant, and which acquired a data analysis and modeling leader. And what I'm trying to say is, something like Salesforce acquiring Tableau, and both the parent and child had diverse cloud implementation. So the merger was very important. An OTT platform rendering curated content was acquired by a studio. All right. So I'm talking about Amazon Video acquiring other smaller OTT platforms, and the OTT platform used a private cloud while the studio used AWS. So things had to move from a private cloud to AWS. So this is one example. Well, one of the classic examples, and I was also part of this about four years back, is that LinkedIn integration into the Microsoft ecosystem. When LinkedIn got acquired by Microsoft, LinkedIn has a long, operated its own data centers in California, in Oregon, in Texas, Virginia, Singapore. So they had their own cloud, and it was spread across the regions and among other locations. And the same time, and at the time they decided on a acquisition. It was acquired by Microsoft, and it didn't commit to moving the whole thing to Azure, but later it started using the Microsoft cloud services in a limited capacity, and now they are going for full adoption. So now everything had to be moved to the Azure in several phases. So mergers, acquisitions, and also commercial partnerships between organizations, those are super important, especially their API economics and their API strategy and so on. So apart from that, the primary reasons, so this part is one of the primary reasons I can say for C2C migration, and it's not necessarily a big headline grabbing merger and acquisition. It could be interdepartmental mergers also in gigantic organizations like GE or even Microsoft, when there is a reorg and there are two organizations that are merged within the enterprise. So M&A is one of the most important aspect right now when we are talking about cloud hopping requirement. All right, let's move on now. Well, moving on, I think the second aspect here is, large enterprises are essentially, they are hybrid and they are multi-cloud. This is definitely a point that we can discuss further, but after working for several large enterprises in my own experience, I can say any sufficiently large enterprise is definitely an environment where it is multi-cloud and it is hybrid. It is unlike a company, a very relatively new company, where everything is inclined to one or probably two clouds, or in most of the cases, new companies are mostly inclined towards one cloud, right? So the point here I'm trying to make is large enterprises, take it, for example, Bank of America or Walmart or AIA or any major organization like Walgreens. So these Fortune 100 companies, if you will, they have a multi-cloud and a hybrid strategy. They're not the companies that they're running their workloads on one commercial cloud provider, right? So, well, the new generation companies, what I would like to call as born in the cloud companies, have a greater inclination towards a single cloud partner, or they run from a private cloud. So even my friends who run startups and have commercial applications as their core business strategy have mostly adopted a single commercial cloud provider. I mean, of course, they do face integration challenges with some SaaS vendors, but that's a different problem and a topic to discuss, right? Now, the large enterprises like multi-billion-dollar BFSI organizations, which is like one of the things which I can quote. It's a 100 years old company or an auto major in the world that have their entire IT systems that were built 50 years back, and a retail behemoth in UK, which got acquired by a American retail giant. And their systems, it's been around for 75 years and so on. So for these enterprises, it's not only multi-cloud, it's a multi-generational in terms of its application architectures. Large enterprises are always a combination of mainframes or desktop apps or client server app or a web app, and using bare metal, using on-premises DC, a public and a private cloud, a SaaS. There's a whole bunch of COTS products, you name it. It is a complete a mixture of so many things for a large enterprise environment. So the point I'm trying to make is, so for such large enterprises that the need for a cloud to cloud migrations continue as they continue to explore the best fit, right? So, and scalability drives enterprise customers to the private cloud and public cloud, and long-term costs seems to be one of the concerns to drive them back home to a private cloud also. So seeing this with a couple of organizations already, and the cloud was inevitable, and so what I'm the point here is the cloud is inevitable, and so is multi-cloud in an enterprise environment. So which ultimately means that there will be migration between the clouds, right? So first was the merger and acquisition, and second one was the need for a multi-cloud environment, multi-cloud hybrid environment with an enterprise organization where there will be a need to move stuff around. All right, thank you. And let's move on to the next reason. Well, the third reason is actually around the strategy that is adopted by the hyperscale providers, like of course AWS, Azure, and GCP. Those are the biggest players. So their strategies are one important aspect that I have seen in one super important engagement. Well, now this is an important factor observed in cloud to cloud migration requirements. Is, the strategy and the roadmap of the services offered by the providers is critical. So when organizations have, let's say, they have chosen a certain cloud, like let's say AWS or Azure, a few years back, and considering the features available at that point in time, because I have adopted to AWS because those were the features that AWS offered me 4 years back, and that time those features were not available with Azure, so I did not adopt Azure, while my whole other part of my organization, which is like the office software and the operating system, was running Windows. However, I did not choose an Azure because I needed Lambda, I needed serverless applications to save costs, so I had chosen AWS that point in time. So the serverless strategy was still lacking with Azure. So however, in the last few years, the pace at which the cloud providers are innovating and offering new services is extraordinary. A few years back, it was typically the infra and cost that was a key factor in choosing a cloud provider. In the last 2-3 years, service innovation across compute, storage, networking, security, AI, IoT, machine learning, containerization, serverless, identity and access, integration with enterprise productivity has been phenomenal, right? You just see the services that Azure has started developing in the last 4 or 5 years. One very important reason for customers to move from a cloud to cloud is because of this, the service innovation and the new service availability provided by a by the other cloud provider which you have not chosen back in the day, you know. So apart from the technology aspects, there are other very sensitive reasons like policy or position on data privacy or data ethics or data democratization, a political stand, which have also influenced some customers to move from cloud A to cloud B. So the main point here is, what is the strategy that the cloud service provider has adopted, the reasons, what are the services that were available few years back when the organization has adopted has adopted a strategy to go to one cloud because of various reasons, but that can actually change with what the other cloud has offered in those number of years, in the years that follow, right? So a very important reason there. All right, so let's move forward. Well, we have talked about the mergers and acquisitions and the need for a multi-cloud strategy for large enterprises. We have talked about the roadmaps and strategies of the commercial cloud providers. Three very important reasons for a cloud to cloud migration requirements and strategies. However, I think as an engineering manager and as I have a lot of engineering responsibilities also, there are much fundamental engineering reasons which are very at the grassroots level, I can say, at a code level, I can say, if you will. Those are very important, which is very practical. And the reason I have taken it as the fourth aspect is that because these are the fundamental reasons, and that's the reason I have moved it to the fourth in the priority actually, because these are, you cannot escape these reasons. So what are they? Well, from a purely engineering standpoint, performance improvement is one most important reason. You cannot escape that. If Azure is providing me better performance for my workload, or if a GCP is giving me a better performance for my workload, that's going to be it. Because my let's say my whole enterprise, my whole profitability depends on the platform, and performance is super important for me. So that acts as a one important fundamental engineering reason for that. New tools and functionality. So the kind of tools that are being offered now with Azure in the last 3 years is amazing, is incredible. The kind of new services offerings that are being given by GCP in the last 1 year is awesome. So that is one important reason why I might go to another cloud. Maybe even I can adopt few services from the other cloud and move with that. And definitely cost is one important aspect. Better pricing and lower costs. That's if I'm the CIO trying to reduce my cloud costs, then better pricing, aggressive pricing that is being done by AWS, or aggressive pricing that is being done by GCP, great reason for to think about moving stuff around clouds. And a richer API and integration capability is one great reason from an engineering standpoint. Well, to give an example, maybe 3 years back, the API management strategy was not that great in Azure. That's the reason me as an engineering lead, I had adopted a MuleSoft or a Apigee or a Dell Boomi strategy. But in the last 3 years, Azure API management service has evolved and matured so much that today I think, because of my other workloads running on Azure, my database running on SQL, my productivity software running on Office 365, all this put together, it makes much more sense for me to go to Azure API management strategy rather than still going with Apigee or MuleSoft or Dell Boomi. So one important reason, richer APIs and integration capabilities. The next engineering reason I can think about are better SLAs, fantastic SLAs, new commitments to the customer over the last couple of years due to various reasons, due to global reasons, geopolitical reasons, due to even compliance reasons, due to global outages. All these has resulted in better SLAs. Those SLAs was not there a few years back. So I can definitely, as an engineering manager, think about going to a cloud which offers me the best of the services that they can offer. Uh, Scalability is one important factor from an engineering standpoint, especially for the companies that are going global in a matter of days, because that's what cloud gives you, right? You can scale to a global level in matter of days or even weeks in sometimes. So, and we have observed an explosion in the number of regional centers, regional availabilities and availability zones by different clouds in the last couple of years. 54, 60, 70 regional centers that are operating right now. So depending upon, as an engineering manager, depending upon which service is available in which availability zone, that could be a great reason for me to choose a particular cloud as opposed to the one that I'm already using right now. And then there is the reason of the decrease in deployment timelines. What I mean is, which is the provider that is giving me a better option for rapid CI/CD, the rapid DevOps, a great container management strategy, the cloud that offers me the best possible container as a service. So which is a one, as in from an engineering standpoint, I think today the toughest battle for an engineering manager or even engineer is the way we handle our container Docker strategy and our Kubernetes strategy. So which is that cloud that is offering me the best of the lot when it comes to my Docker, Kubernetes and container deployment strategies? For me, it's one of the great reasons. Another fantastic reason from a smaller organization standpoint are the open source adoption. Which cloud is very open to the open source? OSS to the cloud strategy, OSS and cloud integration, which is better? And again, so there are so many things from an engineering standpoint I can talk about, but the last one I think is what is the competitor's choice of the cloud provider, right? So my competition, which is the cloud provider my competition is going to? One could be one important reason, because if I am very much competing, if to take a very simple Indian example, an example that is there in India, is that, let's say, Swiggy and Zomato. Swiggy and Zomato are essentially operating in the same business model. They are operating in the same industry domain. Why is Zomato using AWS why is Swiggy using Azure? What are the reasons? I'm the engineering manager. I need to assess that is there a better thing. So that could be one of the important reasons. So just to summarize these fundamental reasons, guys, I just started, I can go on about another few things, but these are the most important things: performance improvements, new tools and functionality provided by the cloud, better pricing and lower costs, richer APIs and integration capabilities, better service level agreements, better scalability to accommodate growth, global growth, explosive growth, decrease deployment timelines, open source adoption and integration. And what is my competition doing? The competitor's choice of cloud provider, right? Very important reasons. Okay, so let's move on and summarize our discussion for today. Well, okay, in conclusion, what I personally feel is that we will see an increase in this area, and also it is going to be very interesting to see how the big cloud providers will develop services around this particular use case, if you will. That is, a very interesting aspect is to see the ease with which one cloud provider will offer services to move the workloads to a different cloud, right? It's a very interesting area to see. And those of us, I know some of I know a few guys here, and those of us who have worked on a cloud migrations understand the amount of skepticism or hesitation among customers when we need to install an agent or for migration on their source servers. So they demand agentless options, and worst case they ask for manual assessments without agents. We have seen that. All of us know the truth. And how the agentless discovery and migration will shape up in the cloud to cloud scenario is going to be very interesting, because this requires a integration or a collaboration at a hypervisor level. The hypervisor of Azure might need to talk to the hypervisor of AWS. This is super interesting topic actually, but that's for some other day. So thank you, thanks a lot for this opportunity, and I think we covered some very important points in cloud hopping. Yeah, once again, thank you very much, and have a safe life. And as I said earlier, just get yourself vaccinated, and thank you very much. Bye bye.